And then the running out of gas thing wasn't. It sucked because we're using GPS, the navigation in the Denali, and it says, there's like a point of interest, and you can choose gas station. And it tells us there's a gas station, so many miles ahead. Well, it tells us we have so many miles left in this tank. Guido's like, oh, we're good. We can make it to this gas station. Well, we get to that gas station, there's nothing there. And so the next gas station we had passed was like 2 miles farther than what we had left in the tank. And so literally we flip a U and we're praying that like the odometer's just wrong. Like, no, we have to have more than 10 miles in this tank. Nope, it hit 0 and the truck shut off. We were 2 miles from the town that had gas. So we just made a big sign.
First I started walking and hitchhiking, which I've never done before, and I'm in Texas in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go over, but screw it. So I'm walking, hitchhiking. Finally, somebody pulls over, and it's this hippie-ass dude, like freaking gray hair down to his knees, And I'm like, hey, thanks a lot, man. And he moves a bunch of stuff out of his truck. He's like, oh, yeah, no big deal, blah, blah, what's going on? I'm like, I'm in a band, we broke down, we need gas. He's like, oh, I've been doing sound for bands for 30 years. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So I hop in with him, and he drives me to the closest town. And then while I'm there, apparently those guys, everybody back at the truck and the trailer, made a big old sign that says out of gas, held it on the side of the road. Till somebody came and gave him gas.
Oh,
that's all it was. And
so you just drove up when you got there?
Yeah, I got to the gas station and bought a thing and filled it with gas, but then they rolled up right and they met me there, so it worked out. It wasn't too bad.
No.
I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, this could be a lot worse than 2 miles in Texas.
Which is great. I mean, the whole thing for us was, this was day one.
Yeah, this was
a 7-week tour.
Yeah, day one.
All this that went down, and so it was, at first, it was real, like shock. We're like, this is going to be hell. But you know what? I mean, other than a few of the small things here and there, knock on wood, thank God that everything's gone really well. It's gone really smooth. Our biggest complaint is the cold weather in some of these cities. I mean, but it is. Fans are great everywhere.
Yeah, we've had an amazing response. Like, we knew, I mean, not to sound cocky, but we knew we'd make some fans. We knew that our show and our music, we'd make some fans. We had no idea how well it was going to go over. It has been amazing. Like, I mean, this has been the least response we've received is here. And I guarantee by the end of the night we'll still be decent. You know what I mean? But, like, it's been unreal some places. Just, it's awesome to walk out on stage and from the first note the whole crowd is jumping and into it, and then you look out and you're like, oh my God, the whole front row is singing your song. Like, how the hell do they even know it? You know what I mean? Like,
they live in Missoula, Montana. The only way they get radio is they have satellite.
I know. Well, you know what?
Actually, Missoula, Montana,
their radio station was awesome to us.
Right. One of the coolest radio stations.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, but I didn't know either.
I gotta give a shout out. I told the DJ Sean when we got there, I was like, I'm gonna be real, man. After the interview, I told him, I'm gonna be real. I didn't know what to expect for this interview. We were in Missoula, Montana. I'd never heard of Missoula, Montana. And he's like, oh, we get that all the time. They think we're just a podunk little radio station. But they're legit, cool. Everyone at the radio station is cool.
This is what threw me for a loop. This is what made me go, wow, this whole thing really works. Was I was sick. We had to cancel Boise because of my throat. And they drove in. I stayed in Boise, slept the night, and then flew in on a little prop plane. And then when I got to the airport, I walked out going, all right, somehow I have to get a cab. I don't even know how this is going to work. So I walk outside, I shit you not, like 30 yards away, a cab is sitting there, the guy's all, pulls up, rolls down the window, goes, you're Kyle from Digital Summer, right? And I'm like, yeah. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. He's like, get in, man, don't want to miss the show. I'm like, alright, I get in, and I'm like, what the fuck? How does this guy know me? And then on the radio, Ian and Fish and Guido are on the radio. He's got the radio station.
Oh, he was listening to the radio.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I heard you boys are at the station right now. They said you're flying in. He goes, I saw you, and I was looking you online on my phone, and I was like, oh shit, that's him. And I'm like, that's amazing. So it's weird because sometimes when you don't even realize what's going on, I mean, little things like that happen, you're like, holy shit, it is getting out there. People are learning of us.
And that alone, that guy's going to go tell us, hey, I drove Kyle from Digital Summer to the airport. You got to check these guys out. Or, everything.
Plus, you got a quick ride.
That's true.
So, just last question. You've got a new album coming out next month?
April 13th.
Did I see it downstairs? You guys are selling it here?
Well,
but
we're selling it up tour right now as an incentive to people to come out to the shows. You can get in and see us live. Otherwise, the in-store and digital release is April 13th.